Khadga Prasad Oli, a name now synonymous with Nepali politics, was not born into a life of privilege or power. His journey began in the remote hills of Tehathum, born to his father Mohan Prasad Oli and mother Madhumaya Oli. His family was like many others in rural Nepal, simple, hardworking, and facing the daily struggles of life. Early in his childhood, his family made the significant move from the hills down to the plains of Japa, a migration that would unknowingly set the stage for the dramatic turns his life would take. This was a time of hardship, a reality that shaped his early years and instilled in him a resilience that would become a hallmark of his character. The pursuit of education was a luxury that his family could not easily afford. Young KP Oli, determined to learn, had to find a way to support his own schooling. He began working as a farmhand, a hali, for a neighboring family, toiling in their fields to earn the means to attend school. This experience of laboring for his education until the 8th grade gave him a first-hand look at the deep-seated inequalities within society. It was a formative period that exposed him to the harsh realities faced by the poor and marginalized, planting the seeds of the political ideology that he would later embrace with fervent passion and unwavering commitment. However, his youth was not just defined by hard work and a desire for knowledge. It was also marked by a rebellious and turbulent spirit. Known for his disruptive nature, Oli was drawn into the burgeoning communist movement that was taking root in Japa during the early 1970s. This was a period of intense political upheaval, where radical ideas were capturing the minds of the youth who were disillusioned with the existing system. His involvement was not passive. He became an active participant in a movement that often blurred the line between political activism and outright violence, a path that would lead him down a dark and irreversible road. This journey into radical politics culminated in a grave and life-altering event. In 1973, at a young age, KP Oli found himself implicated in the murder of an individual in Japa, an act committed in the name of the communist revolution. This was the point of no return. The incident transformed him from a young political activist into a wanted man accused of a capital crime. The law eventually caught up with him and he was arrested. The charge was severe and the consequences would be profound, setting him on a course that would see him spend more than a decade of his life behind the cold, unforgiving bars of a prison cell. The verdict was delivered and the sentence was long, 14 years. For a young man on the cusp of adulthood, this was an eternity. KP Oli was sent to the central jail in Kathmandu, a place where time moves differently, where hope can easily wither and die. These 14 years were not just a period of punishment, they became his university of hardship. Inside the prison walls, he was surrounded by other political prisoners, seasoned ideologues, and hardened criminals. It was here that he delved deeper into political theory, reading voraciously and engaging in endless debates that sharpened his intellect and solidified his communist beliefs. The isolation and suffering did not break him. Instead, they forged him into a more determined and resilient political figure. Life in prison was a crucible of endurance. The conditions were harsh, the future uncertain. Every day was a test of his physical and mental strength. He witnessed the best and worst of humanity within those walls, learning invaluable lessons about loyalty, betrayal, and survival. This extended period of incarceration gave him ample time for introspection, to reflect on the path he had chosen and the sacrifices it demanded. It was during these long, solitary years that the rebellious youth from Japa transformed into a calculated and strategic political thinker, preparing himself for the role he was convinced he was destined to play in Nepal's future, once he was a free man again. Upon his release, after 14 long years, KP Oli made a pivotal decision that would define the next chapter of his life. He chose not to return to his village in Japa, the place of his childhood and his crime. The memories and the stigma were perhaps too much to bear. Instead, he decided to remain in Kathmandu, the nation's political nucleus. This was a strategic move. The capital was where political movements were born, where power was brokered, and where a man with his ambition could truly make his mark. He left his past behind to build a new identity in the heart of the country's political landscape. In Kathmandu, he sought to build a new life, not just politically, but personally as well. He met and married a local woman from the city, choosing to live as a Garjwain, or a man who resides with his wife's family. This decision further embedded him into the social fabric of the capital. While settling into his new domestic life, he wasted no time in re-engaging with politics. He became an active and influential figure within the Communist Party, leveraging his story as a political prisoner to gain respect and credibility. The years in jail had not been a detour, but a foundation upon which he would build his formidable political career. KP Oli's political career began its steady, relentless climb. His reputation as a staunch ideologue who had sacrificed his youth for the party's cause preceded him. He navigated the complex and often treacherous internal politics of the Communist Party with skill and patience, gradually rising through the ranks. He held various ministerial positions over the years, proving himself to be a shrewd and capable leader. His powerful oratory, often laced with sharp wit and nationalist rhetoric, resonated with a significant portion of the populace. His journey culminated in him reaching the pinnacle of Nepali politics, becoming the Prime Minister not once, but multiple times, a testament to his political acumen and unwavering ambition. However, as his political stature grew, so did public scrutiny of his personal finances. A narrative began to form, one that is often whispered in public squares and debated heatedly online. The central question is simple. How did a man with no known business ventures, who spent his formative years in prison and dedicated his life to party politics, accumulate such significant wealth? The public record shows no family businesses or major commercial enterprises in his name. Yet, observers point to a lifestyle that seems far removed from that of a lifelong salaried politician, with reports of him residing in opulent homes that appear inconsistent with his declared sources of income. This disconnect between his known financial history and his current lifestyle has fueled widespread speculation and suspicion among the Nepali people. Citizens, who are increasingly demanding transparency and accountability from their leaders, have raised direct questions about the source of his wealth. These are not just whispers, but loud public inquiries. How is this lifestyle funded? Where does the money come from? In a country where corruption is a pervasive and deeply rooted problem, such questions are not merely academic. They strike at the heart of public trust in the entire political system. The lack of clear, convincing answers has only deepened the mystery. The issue of his wealth remains one of the most significant controversies surrounding his public image. While his supporters dismiss these concerns as politically motivated attacks designed to tarnish his reputation, his critics see it as a classic example of the enrichment that often accompanies high political office in Nepal. The questions linger, unanswered and persistent. For many Nepalis, KP Oli embodies a paradox. He is the nationalist leader who stood up for the country, yet he is also the politician whose personal wealth remains a subject of intense and unresolved public debate, casting a long shadow over his political achievements and his legacy. Despite the controversies, KP Oli's tenure as Prime Minister is marked by significant foreign policy initiatives that have reshaped Nepal's international relationships. He is widely credited with steering Nepal away from its traditional India-centric foreign policy towards a more balanced approach. A key achievement was the strengthening of ties with China. Breaking with tradition, he famously planned his first foreign visit as Prime Minister to China instead of India in late 2024, signaling a major diplomatic shift. This move was part of a broader strategy to enhance connectivity and economic cooperation, culminating in agreements like China's offer of zero-tariff treatment for Nepali goods and plans to celebrate 2025 as the Nepal Tourism Year in China. His diplomatic outreach was not limited to Nepal's immediate northern neighbor. He also actively worked to foster stronger relations with other global powers, notably Japan. In May 2025, his meeting with Japan's Parliamentary Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ikuina Akiko, underscored this commitment. The discussions focused on enhancing bilateral cooperation in crucial sectors such as infrastructure development, post-disaster reconstruction, health, and education. With Nepal and Japan set to celebrate the 70th anniversary of their diplomatic ties in 2026. These engagements have been vital in securing continued support from one of Nepal's most reliable development partners, reinforcing his image as a leader with a global vision. At home, his leadership has been a mix of bold nationalistic projects and deep political divisions. He championed the construction of roads, bridges, and other infrastructure, often promoting a vision of a prosperous and self-reliant Nepal. His government's stance during the 2015 border blockade and the subsequent issuance of a new political map that included disputed territories were hailed by many as acts of profound patriotism. These actions solidified his support base and positioned him as a strong leader, unafraid to stand up for Nepal's sovereignty. His ability to rally the public around a nationalist cause remains one of his most potent political tools. In conclusion, the life of K.P. Sharma Oli is a complex tapestry woven with threads of struggle, sacrifice, controversy, and ambition. From a poor boy in Takhatum to a long-term prisoner and ultimately to the Prime Minister's office, his journey is nothing short of extraordinary. He is a leader who has made significant strides in asserting Nepal's place on the world stage, particularly with China and Japan. Yet, he remains a deeply polarizing figure, haunted by questions about his past and his wealth. His legacy will likely be debated for years to come. Was he the visionary patriot who modernized Nepal, or a powerful politician who, like many before him, failed to remain untouched by the very system he once fought to overthrow? Only time will provide the final verdict.